gonna get the vela out, put the little virgencita right there next to him.
I think
San Palo Santo.
I think what is interesting is like the headspace that Lewis is in right now.
It's the most healthy. Also, y'all, Angela's back. Angela's
Hugger.
back this year.
He feels
When he came back to Ferrari,
mentally, emotionally, check.
romantically.
That's what I said. Emotionally, physically, mentally, of them.
Oh, hey, yo. That's why. You know what? Welcome to the Monoplaza F1 podcast. As always, I'm your host, Emi Bertre, and today I am joined by two illustrious guests from the world-renowned Circuitos y Chismes podcast, Lisa y Amanda. Ladies, welcome. Thank you. How are y'all?
I'm
Over the moon.
happy.
Look at Amanda.
Happy.
Look at Amanda.
Happy.
I painted my nails red because I was like, oh, they were overdue. And I was like, this is a sign.
Red nail theory.
It is red nail theory. It's a girl thing.
Explain it.
It just sends really positive vibes. It's commanding. And you basically, what's that word? You manifest things into the world.
What you're saying is you manifested this Lewis Hamilton 106.
I might have.
Hey, respect.
She did.
Nothing. Hey, if you're tuning in right now, I'm just going to pre-warn you. Everybody on the show right now is a Lewis Hamilton fan. High key glazing this episode. So I'm just warning
Let's just call it the Lewis episode.
Listen.
Let's just call this the Lewis is back, baby episode.
But what I will say is this. It will be heavily biased. And I make no apologies for that. It's my podcast.
It's not biased when he is the winner.
It's literally the facts that he's the GOAT. Like,
literally.
Again, preaching to the choir here. I completely agree. So, right, this race was super exciting. Checking my notes, we had 7 DNFs. It was an all-British podium for the first time since 1968. Kimmy Antonelli had the first bit of bad luck ever. We will definitely unpack that later. Lots to go through, but I guess from start to finish, without getting in super detail, what was y'all's overall thoughts about this race?
You want to go first, Amanda?
Yeah, it was like anxiety because I halfway through the race when shit started kind of really shaking up, I was like, don't say it. I didn't want to jinx anything. So literally I was watching this with my family, it was amazing. I mean, I love seeing Lewis back in top form. I love seeing him. I think I have it in my notes. This was a definitive win. He had such a margin at the top. And even with the safety car and everything, there was no denying that he was really at the top of his game for this race. And that he was once he was in the lead, it was okay, this is great. So I love that when it's a clear thing, especially for him in his race back.
Yeah, it's key, especially for him, because I feel that, especially for Lewis. Lisa, were you as nervous as Amanda, or were you just more I painted the nails red, I've manifested this dub, let me just sit back and enjoy the fruits of my labor?
I'm very confident in my manifestation skills. It's never failed. It is backed by science. No, I'm just kidding. I watched the quali, and when that third qualifying stint came and you just saw his pace against Mercedes, I was like, this race is going to be a Lewis race. And I never thought that he would finish anything, other than at worst P.
So, okay, see, this is where my doubt creeps in, because when I'm looking at so FP1, obviously he was not in the car, right? So I was like, sure, whatever, Barcelona's his track. So if he was going to pick any track to miss out on free practice, Barcelona, that would be, right? But then when FP2 came through, I was like, ooh, we got 8 upgrades to this car. It's not looking great.
It's a lot of upgrades.
FP3, he was still floundering. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was essentially what I'm saying is I was bracing myself for that type of weekend.
Yeah, but by Saturday.
Well, yeah, but Saturday was one thing, but Friday.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, Friday you were like,
I feel like the practice never, I don't know, I think it's interesting to watch and stuff, but it doesn't always represent really what you'll see at the race. I think it's more consistent to rely on practice than it is when you see quali. I think that gives you a better idea of what's going to happen, especially with the tires.
Oh yeah, because the DEG was super high, right?
It was so high. So you knew. That's why I messaged you guys. I was like, we're looking at a 3-stop race. I was like, this is going to be so good.
I guess so. Yes, I did get that message. I was like, yes, we're aligned on that 3-stop strategy.
That's where I thought Ferrari was going to shit the bed, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I was like, if anything goes wrong in this race for Lewis, is because Ferrari is going to do something so bad. Because if it's a 3-stop race, I was like, there's no way they're going to nail this flawlessly.
So and that's classic Ferrari. Okay.
That's where I think this wasn't about a Lewis issue. This was about a Ferrari issue.
Okay. Amanda, back to
you know what? I'm going to say that too. Like, I was like, Ferrari va cagar the strategy. Like, he will be fine, but I was so worried about the tire situation. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm, because like, I was like, they're going to pull a Ferrari.
See, okay. And so leading up to qualifying, I actually wasn't worried about Ferrari because I assumed, again, based on like how those practices had gone, and I was like, of course, they're going to have Lewis sit out FP1. But then like, I think it was like my brother, maybe it was my wife. She was just kind of like, yeah, they get to pick and choose when they miss those free practices. I was like, okay. But I'm not going to hold y'all. When we got to qualifying, I was surprised. I'm sorry. I just don't have that much faith. I'm sorry. Like, I was like, not in Lewis's ability. Okay. Let me be clear. Not in Lewis's ability.
Yeah.
The car, cause like Kimmy, purple, green. George,
I know.
purple, green. Lewis, yellow.
Purple. I know. Some sectors look slow for him. I was like, oh no. But that was strategic, I think.
Oh, okay. My bad.
We'll just say it was.
Amanda's like, strategic? No.
I know. Her face is like, shut up.
I was like, what?
No, but listen, like, I will say, and then like we should get into it like bit by bit, but like, I think I was more on the camp of Amanda, right? Like, so I'm watching this race, and like when they unveiled the tire blankets, or they lifted the tire blankets, and you saw that Lewis was on soft. Immediately I was like, oh, okay. So listen, in my head, I was like, I got it. Soft, he's trying to jump at the start, and then he's just going to like run away with it. Clearly, they're going on a 3-stop strategy because why else would you start on the soft?
Yep.
When that did not materialize, I was like,
I know.
Well, too, the commentator said that immediately, too. Like, once he was not like off in the lead, like in the first lap, they're like, what's going to happen with these softs? That's when I was like,
and then like Kimmy was in his like, Kimmy was on his ass the entire time. But then I will say, prior to him pitting, Kimmy, I think, got as close as like half a second. But then like Lewis did pull out of, I know we don't call it DRS anymore, out of the overtake zone, whatever the cliche thing is. But yeah, like I was super nervous because I felt like the pace wasn't there with the car. I was like, oh yeah,
at the start, they didn't get what they were hoping to get out of that soft tire, but to their luck, the medium tire sucked too. Everybody was saying they were like, this medium tire is performing like a soft. So
yeah, and it was like, right, because like Pirelli had brought,
I forget what
compound. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, so these are softer. So a couple of things that happened as they panned out. There was a VSC. This is where my Alonso haterism is coming through. So the race goes on, and I'm kind of doing this like out of order a little bit. There was a VSC that ultimately like would change the race to Lewis's favor
initially.
But was that, I guess for me, that was the pivotal moment. But do y'all feel like that was a pivotal moment, or was that because like at that point, like Lewis had just switched to the mediums, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was coming up. No, he hadn't. What? No, he had just gone to.
Yeah,
mediums.
Yeah.
He was after it, and I was like, he was catching them. I was like, okay, but they're on fading hards, so like whatever, they're just gonna pit while they're super ahead, and it's not gonna matter, right? But then like he just kept like. Blah, 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 fast. So for me, Alonso's clutch DNF.
Thank you, Alonso.
Was pivotal, but for y'all, was that the thing that changed the race for y'all? Like, or was it just like he had it in the bag prior to the VSC?
I think he would have clenched onto P2. Again, I'm just being very confident in Lewis. But obviously the safety cars just always change the strategy, right? It's either a Hail Mary for someone or it like fucks someone over for this one. I think what I was concerned was he went past the pit lane.
Yeah.
At the beginning. And I was like, shit, is this virtual safety going to end?
Car ending.
Before he's able to pit that would have changed everything.
All right, Amanda. So Ferrari pits Lewis on 12 because on the 12th lap because they're on a 3-stop strategy. My question to you is why the hell did Mercedes also do that? Because later on we would find out that they were not committing to that.
Because they don't like George. They don't like George. They have these memes of Toto when George is on pole and when Kimmy's on pole, and it's like polar opposite. And so I'm convinced they just also like, I don't think that like, okay, I had a note. Hold on. Let me look at my note. Lap 12. I think like in their mind, oh my gosh, this dog. I think in their mind, I just don't think that they thought that like it was going to be that pivotal at this point. We were like so early on in the race, right?
Yeah.
This was lap 12.
Yeah. But
But
I think for me, it was like later on, it would become apparent, right? And I'm sure that they thought like, they love to throw the meme out that George is a tire whisperer. But as we talked about earlier, like the tire deg here was like, it was crazy. We've got new cars, a new set of regulations. The wear is different. Pirelli brought softer compound, like a set of compounds to it, right? So you're telling me that like, this is where I think like Amanda's 100% right, by the way, because I agree that Mercedes is not like George, because they were going to say, George, from lap 12 to the end, or not to the end, we're going to put you on hards, okay?
Yeah. They were on a 2-stop strategy. Like, why would they pit him so early? They were so reactive to Ferrari, and some teams make that mistake, right? They see a team do something, but the thing is like, I think even Russell got on the radio and was like, Lewis is doing a 3-stop strategy. So like, and George knew that.
Yeah.
Mercedes knew that. So why would they bring him in that early on? And that was nonsensical.
I will say this segment where I insert my deluluism. All right. They weren't worried about Ferrari. They were worried about Lewis. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, they were
I
like,
think you're right.
It's true.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Yeah,
because
sure.
Leclerc at this point was like way down in the pecking order.
10 to 7, or 6 at some point.
Yeah.
And he wasn't, I mean, he was overtaking people, but it wasn't anything that was like, man, Leclerc's like, I think that Ferrari committed to that stop, great. And Mercedes was like, okay, Lewis is about to do what Lewis does. George, we hate you, but also come in.
Yeah.
Because like ultimately, like that would end up putting him like in a situation, obviously, where it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like Lewis's blistering pace on the second stint on those mediums was crazy. At that point, George's 1,000-year-old hard tires, Kimmy's 1,000-year-old hard tires. He was catching before George Russell pit.
Yeah.
He was like 12 seconds ahead of Lewis.
Yeah, that's
by the
what
time Kimmy pit. He was
right
8 seconds ahead of Lewis. And then Fernando Alonso did what Fernando Alonso does best. And now you get a free stop.
Yes.
And they thank you, Mercedes. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I guess my question is like, how do you think the reaction from George would have been if they committed him to a different strategy than Kimmy? Right? Because like, here's my long view of the entire race, right? The way Kimmy races George, and by the way, did y'all catch like how he was trying to get team orders? He was like, my pace
is better.
Yes. Then do something.
But he did. And then his car
Mercedes is letting their drivers race, and I love it. They're not gonna play the papaya rule bullshit. They're like, if you guys gonna race, but it is costing them a little bit, because when George was trying to defend against Antonelli, inevitably that degrades your tires more. It's gonna cut time off your pace. And now you have Lewis winning.
He was putting in, I think, like 120. It was like, okay.
Yeah, it was
and
insane.
at first I thought it was, because he's on mediums, but like he just kept doing it. But I will say, like Lisa, like one thing that I've noticed, I put a video out about this earlier, and I think y'all would probably agree, I do feel like Kimmy is faster.
He is.
Yeah, he is. Totally.
I think he is. I don't know how he does it.
We were talking about this before we started recording, but like Kimmy has like send it energy. Like, I'm just gonna fucking go balls to the walls. I mean, dude was like, he got the track limits penalty, right? He was just like, I'm gonna drive this track and this car to the motherfucking limit, and I'm gonna make George's asshole pucker when I'm on his booty. And I mean, then like he pushes the car to the limit and then he doesn't finish. But like, I think like you mentioned this or someone else has mentioned this as like a talking point later, but like I think Kimmy, I don't think this messes up with like Kimmy's like mentals or anything, because I feel like he is young. His frontal lobe is not developed. We've talked about this before, Lisa.
Okay,
And so
science.
like I just think that he's like, I rather have pushed everything to the limit, given everything that I have, and like failed than have like held back and then not gotten what he wanted. So I think
his perspective is he's won nothing, so he has nothing to lose. Like he said this in interviews. He's like, how can I lose something that I've never had? So for him, he's just like, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. And I love that. I think, again, like I was watching the dead eyes of George Russell on the podium.
The way
I think he's reevaluating his career.
When he was on the podium, he gets like the little watery dead eye, and I call them, sometimes he looks like Woody from Toy Story.
But yeah, everybody's been calling him Woody from Toy Story.
But it's like when he's like disillusioned with things, his eyes get like
they just get like glossy, and just like frozen.
I would have been over the moon if I had been George Russell. Why? Sure. Did I win the race? Absolutely not. But the guy who I'm trying to chase did not finish the race. That's free lunch.
That is not a good way to win, though. When you know
a dub is a dub.
I know, but Kimmy had just taken him over. He had just finished and overtaken the.
Absolutely.
Like if Kimmy would have stayed in that race, George knows that he would have not been able to recover and take that.
Okay, but also back. In George is like likes to play like the victim mentality when things don't go his way. So he was already like, I should have been on first. This should have been my P1, and then like not going to take accountability for like, he's not driving fast enough or whatever. But yeah.
But I mean, I've peeped George's game since he was teammates with Lewis, right? Like I have turned. See, this is a newbie. I have turned a new page on George Russell, because when him and Lewis were teammates, everything George Russell did, I was like, this freaking guy, right? Because it'd be like when you don't like somebody and it's like whatever they do, like look at that bitch eating those crackers over there, right? Like, and they're just like normal, just like having. But like, okay, so Lisa, like I understand what you're saying. Like, sure, George got the W. At the end of the day, like he didn't get the right way.
No, he got it.
But all we learned is that had it not been for the car blowing up, you would have been P3 because you got passed on track by
the penalties. He probably still would have gotten.
Yeah, P2. But yeah.
But even George knew it, because in his post-race interview, he was just like, I started I didn't feel good in the hards. He's like, I was losing pace. I wasn't keeping up the pace. And I think he knew. I mean, he didn't say it explicitly, but it's like, I think he knew. He was like, I don't think I was going to do better.
He needs to get that dog in him.
He does need to get that dog in.
What dog?
The dog.
No,
That's my point. There's no, please. No. And so like for me, I guess I look at it from a different perspective too. So y'all know this. Last year, Antonelli scored 3 points combined for all of the European races, right? So just Monaco alone already quadruple, triple. I'm a designer, not a mathematician, but it was significantly better, right?
More points.
He got points because he crossed the finish line first, which means that anyways. And so I feel like the reverse is going to happen. I actually think that this is going to make Kimmy more aggressive, which is going to make him more mistake prone.
That does track with my thing on like your frontal lobe is not fully developed. So you're not weighing the consequences. He's a child. He's a child. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we saw that when he was racing against George, 2 races ago, and he was like fucking lawn mowing everything. Like he becomes reckless. Yeah. He does become reckless.
I just like, it reminds me of Lewis Glacing number 2, a young Lewis Hamilton going up against a senior teammate who's just like, I'm faster, big dog. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to be slower.
I also don't think that, okay, I hear you. But I also don't think that like Kimmy being more reckless is going to actually play into anything positive for George, because anytime our Safari colonizer sees any type of resistance or something, like he cannot Lisa sent me
No.
a text. I'm gonna read it. She goes, I need George to take this in and see Lewis standing to him and put some fires in him. I'm like, I need George to crash out over this. And I think that he's going to continue to crash out. So I feel like George is going, watch me eat my words, because that's all I've been doing since
Watch next episode. You're going to give this one to George, Amanda.
Motherfucker, because I'd be doing this.
No, George is just going to send a strongly worded email. Okay? That's the dog.
He's his manager.
Blind CC's the manager.
Blind CCing is major George energy.
He's going to CC the person who needs to like direct it at. And blind CC is like, just so you know.
Yeah. For visibility.
And you have no idea, right? So, okay, but I agree. I guess I'm just looking at it like short term, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking like he still got the W. He needed those points.
He did. He
does
have
either
points.
Terrible luck or DNFs going all the way back to China, right?
Yeah.
The only one that kind of sucks, which again, we're starting to see a pattern. We get into this actually right now, is the reliability of Mercedes.
Yes.
So this is now a DNF where, I don't know if it was you, Amanda, if it was you, Lisa, that essentially it's like when you're pushing, the car decides, me voy, bye. Right? We saw in Canada, George was after just defending. He wasn't even after Kimmy, he was just defending. Car's done. Kimmy finally does what he needed to do this race. 4 laps to go. Bye-bye. So, question to y'all, should Mercedes and Mercedes customer teams start worrying about Mercedes reliability?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd be concerned. I
would
am
be
concerned. Yeah.
Especially if that's putting you in the constructor's points, it's jeopardizing it, right? Anytime you have a DNF, you're not going to get points.
Yeah, it's big old zero.
Those little points accrue at the end, right? If you have like other teams, right, riding your ass on the points, as Ferrari is. Honestly, Ferrari, if it wasn't for like Leclerc being so inconsistent, which is shocking, but it's just like they would have way more points, and they're Mercedes is gonna start seeing that gap like lessen if they keep having DNFs.
Well, and it's like if do y'all think the trigger is when you're pushing that engine too hard? Because they have the fastest cars, right? Like, so one thing that I neglected to say earlier was that like George was racing the wrong person, right? Like, so while George and Kimmy were like fighting it out, they assumed I have it in the bag. Like, Lewis isn't going to catch up. Like, he's fast. Like, I've already, like, I pulled a gap to him. Kimmy's going to catch him. So I just need to pull it, right? If they keep fighting amongst each other and they keep pushing each other like this, is the expectation that, like, we can look forward to more mechanical DNFs. And if that's the case, then absolutely Ferrari is going to catch up and be like, okay, well, our engines aren't blowing up. So
if you have a car that can't push and can't fight, your car shouldn't be in a race. Like,
but
it doesn't matter who they're battling it out. Like, they just.
But I think,
I don't know, man. Mercedes should be super, super concerned.
It should, but I think that like the issue is that it's a little bit of like mijito complex. So let me explain that. Like,
pack that for me.
George came into this season thinking Kimmy was going to be his little fiel hijo, his little mijo, right? And so I think Mercedes absolutely knew they had the best engine, which apparently not. Apparently Red Bull.
Yeah, that was surprising to see.
Red Bull had
everybody, including Max.
He's like, huh?
Listen,
we do.
Yeah, and they're asking for a recount. They're like, no, not us, not us. Run that back.
You're like, I've been driving this car. It ain't that good. Like, I can tell you.
If you live in the United States, if you're watching this outside of the United States, and you drive a Ford, electrical problems in a Ford. Remember when I said that to y'all? Like, shocking that a Ford has a great engine, but it's the electrical software issues that are causing
the
problem. Repair daily.
That's why never catch me in a Ford. But if you want to invite me to the Detroit opening of the, anyways, and so like what I was trying to say earlier is that I think that they assumed because their engine was going to be quote unquote like the fastest, and they handily won Australia, China, Japan, Miami, right? It was like dunking on people. Yeah. I think what George was not expecting, like he thought those were going to be his wins. And I think he thought Kimmy was going to come back year 2 and be like, oh, I'm still learning and it's definitely going to be better this year.
Yeah.
We've got the fastest cars, so I'm just going to learn from George. George, what do you have to teach Kimmy?
Nothing.
That Kimmy doesn't
see? Nothing.
He tried to make him his mijo, and now that little carajito is like putting
dominating.
Yeah.
And to my point, like, yeah, Lisa, if your car can't handle actually racing, you got bigger issues at hand. But I don't think Mercedes counted on Kimmy's learning curve to just be that high in a car that, oh yeah, I'm comfortable in this car. This makes sense.
Yeah, let's push it to the limit. Yeah, I don't think they were expecting that. I totally hear you on that. And then also, like, we keep hearing about Mercedes's like engine or like the car as itself is like, they built this rocket ship. They built this rocket ship. And like, I think that that's like obviously it's a great thing, but there comes with tremendous cost to that, right? Because you build this rocket ship and like when you're trying to make it more reliable, which they will probably inevitably be doing we have a break until the next race. So this week they're going to be super busy back at the factory trying to figure this shit out. There are trade-offs. You can't maintain this like rocket ship, speed. And then also kind of like there's going to be this trade-off that's going to happen, at least for the next race, which is Austria.
Yeah.
I think what we have seen with just all of these teams, but I think like Mercedes has this track record as with the exception of the last several years. But, like they might be able to like diagnose this issue and like strike this balance as we get midway into the season. Let's just remember this feels like it's been a long season because we've had so many breaks in the fucking schedule.
So much
like a race
left.
number perspective, we are still very early on in the number of races. And so this is still, I just wouldn't put it past these like top teams that have all this, engineering, this data and like the engineering power behind them to diagnose these issues and try to figure it out. Will we probably see some like wonkiness from Mercedes in Austria and the race, like the next 2 to 3 races? Yeah, as they're trying to figure this out. But I wouldn't count them out for like not figuring this out by the end of the.
They're going to figure it out
because
there's no way Mercedes wouldn't figure it out.
Yeah. Well,
it's
no,
Mercedes,
but like I'm saying, like the gap between all of the gap between all of the teams is going to like decrease. I would say
100%.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to say that Amanda with the cap and the headphones and I feel like I'm getting a technical debrief, right?
Which is furthest from, but it's like the illusion.
No, I feel like I'm sitting there. No, I'm sitting there like, this comes straight from the team.
She works for Ferrari, you guys.
So today on the show we have chief technical strategist from Ferrari. No, I agree with what you're saying. I think what this race taught me more than anything is that like, yes, they have the fastest car. Exactly what you were saying, Amanda. Yes, they have this car, but they were not expecting the issues that arose with having like, this is the cost of doing business, right? The other issue that they're facing is none of the other teams are sitting on their hands. Ferrari brought 8 upgrades to this race.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc apparently brought new brakes to this race. They didn't work, but whatever.
Pobre cabron. I know you don't like him, Emmy, but I feel for Charles.
It's not that I don't like. It's not that
he's your villain. It's because he's your villain. He is
because he's got great PR. Okay, he's got great PR. We don't need to get into this. Okay, like it's just.
I feel sorry for him this race. If I'm being honest, he fucked up his own quality.
You are normally his number one.
I'm usually but he makes a lot of mistakes. This was a self-inflicted wound for him, and I don't know what's going on with his head. I think I don't know if he's having some sort of just mental issue going on right now, but that was on him entirely.
Because okay, Lisa, you're right. Let's go back to qualifying. What? Because
exactly what he was doing so well.
But part of me feels like he was messing with the brakes. Not a joke. Just hear me out. In terms of when he was braking.
Yeah.
Right. And I think he was like, okay, well, this is not an area where I will easily lose control of my car. So I'm just going to do a little later braking.
Yep.
And that was it. All of a sudden,
100%. And he's getting used to these new brakes as well. So I think I was reading a little bit about what the issue with the brakes is and why they're so different. And the composite and the carbon material, I guess that is on Lewis's car is really consistent. The issue is that it overheats the tires. So you have to do a lot of tire management when you are on those brakes. They're more consistent, but your degradation on the tires is going to be worse. With Leclerc's, they're super inconsistent, but he would he was basically driving on like the instinct, but really, really inconsistent instinct of like, are my brakes going to fail me this time or not? So he would have to just like pull back on his driving style. So, I mean, I know that he was walking into driving with brakes that he's not used to.
Sure.
And maybe he was going too hard on them, which I think he was just trying to get the feel. I don't know. I just think like, I know when my brakes are starting to wear down, you could feel it in your car, right? Like, you know, when it's happening.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and you know, like, you're just like, whoa, like these are really sensitive brakes. I feel like he was just kind of like figuring it out, but I don't know.
Here's my question to you. Do you think their brakes squeak like our brakes squeak when it's time?
That's such a good question.
Catch fire. Their brakes catch fire.
Actually, could you imagine driving down the highway and your brakes just like catch fire? So a couple things touching on the brakes, right? So all three of us are in the corporate world. Last week, Leclerc was like, the brakes. I'm not taking responsibility for this. It's the brakes. He put Brembo on blast. Brembo, as any good multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I talked about this like in a video I recorded earlier, which is like Brembo had an opportunity to be like, hey, dog, let's talk about this. Closed doors. Don't like put us on blast. No, Brembo went scorched earth and was like, I don't know what you're talking about over there. It is too early to tell. We haven't looked at the telemetry. We have they drop numbers. What were the numbers? We have a 50+ year relationship with Ferrari. I was like, okay. And the thing that Brembo shit the bed. So 1, 2, I would also like to point out that last year Lewis was also complaining about the Brembo brakes, and Lewis's brakes also gave up in Saudi Arabia, right? Him and Alonso were fighting for that 7th and 8th critical points, I'm sure, right? And now all of a sudden, like, he finally begged Vasseur to be like, hey, dog, like,
please switch the brakes.
And they did, right? But what I will say to you, Lisa, is that Leclerc tried out the carbine industry brakes in Japan.
He did.
So this was not the first time that he tried it. And the second thing that I will say is, like, if the brakes are this is where I think like Charles just needs to focus on Charles and not what is Lewis doing. Right?
He is focusing a lot on he's even said, like, I'm watching everything Lewis does, and I'm like, maybe you should not.
Or maybe you should.
Or maybe do your own thing. Figure it out. What works for you.
So
take what works, leave what doesn't.
And so it'll be interesting moving forward, like what happens with that. So full circle to close this loop out. If you're a Mercedes customer team, are you concerned about the reliability? Like Andrea Stella has already said, like, this kind of sucks being a customer team. Williams wasn't super happy. Alpine has been the only one who hasn't said anything, because I think last year they were such a terrible last team that this year is like, oh no, we're good. Everything's amazing over here. So either of y'all can answer this one. If you're a Mercedes customer team, at what point are you like, I'm going to need some money back, or I'm going to need y'all to tell us how to figure this out? Because, like,
you know, they're already working on that shit. They've got contracts teams, legal teams being like, where is the recourse here? One, they're trying to figure out like how they're going to like augment. Yeah. But yeah, I think they're especially with this week that we have, right? We have this like week off before Austria. So I think they're all on the horn, kind of figuring it out. Yeah.
And fair enough. And hopefully they figure this out in November and not next year. And Ferrari goes to, see, there it is, number 3. All right. So Kimmy ends up crashing out. George gets the podium. Lando got the podium, low key. We come to the moment that I definitely want to talk about. Walk me through that feeling. At what point did either of you know Lewis is going to get his 106th victory? And Lisa, I know you manifested it, so you probably from the get-go already knew it. Can I just tell you, I stopped being nervous when he crossed the finish line. That's it.
Same. Okay. I stopped being nervous because I was like, something could happen. Maybe he like punctures a tire. Maybe something crazy happens.
No,
like,
something.
I was
like, Charles, the thing happened to Charles.
Yes.
I was like,
we're not counting our chickens before they hatch.
It was the moment I was like, the universe is aligned to let Lewis win. The moment he got back after his virtual safety pit, the moment he re-entered onto the track, virtual safety done. It was almost like on cue, came out perfectly ahead of George Russell. Yes, I was like, it's his race. I was like, it's his race. Now George and Antonelli are going to be messing with each
want.
other. They're going to be like, and then Lando was just sitting. So here's the thing. Also, like Lando was just waiting to see who was going to mess up between those two. And then just, he was going to end up in P3 no matter what. And he didn't even have to try. The fact that the McLaren had a reliable car, that was good, but
they were also so sure about Kimmy's track limits.
Yeah.
They were like
very
so positive about it. Like, I was
so
like,
confident.
And even like the commentators were like, do they know something?
I'm telling my husband, I was like, I wouldn't have told my driver that. I'm like, you need him to stay within 5 seconds in case.
I would have too.
Well, what if they didn't have the right data and they actually missed that?
Well,
call?
I see what I thought they were trying to also do with Norris was like, go fuck with them so they like make mistakes. Like go like chase, like, you know what I mean?
Well, that was the initial call. He was like, do you want me to push now or push later? And they were like, you're going to push later to try and force a mistake on Kimmy to go over. And then they came back on the radio and they were like, nope, he already messed up. Like we know he's going to get a 5-second penalty. And then he just started dropping back. He was just like, all right, my work here is done. He's like, I'm going to end up in P3 no matter what. So, but I thought that was a risky call. I would have been like, damn, what if we did fuck that up? And like, what if we're wrong? He didn't get that penalty. And now Lando's like,
what? Wait, hold on. Amanda, McLaren is not going to.
They're not going to fuck anything up more than papaya rules.
Okay, I should have let you finish. I was like, McLaren? Listen, Amanda and I are probably in the same camp of like, I was super nervous. Lisa, how does it feel to be God's favorite where it's like, oh yeah, we got this? The last thing, the one thing I will say, something that I've learned, and I think y'all will learn to appreciate, is that all of these drivers and their teams are the feds. Okay, they're straight up like federales. They are the biggest narcs on earth. So when they said that to Lando, I was like, oh, they got somebody already on the trailer. The thing's on rewind. They got it on 3 screens, super slow mo. It's like 1, 2, 3, we got it. And turns out they were right. At the end,
my husband and I were like, there's one like race engineer on every team. His whole job is just to be sleuthing in on the radio and snitching. That's his whole job. Like, you got the snitch engineer. And, you know, I would love to be the snitch engineer.
The main chismosa? You would love
that.
I know.
I would love that. I'd be like, ooh, this guy just said this.
Actually.
Report it.
Hot intel.
Well, but even because they'll be on their own radios talking about, it's really dangerous braking, or he moved under braking, or he...
Yeah,
that. Us, please. That's for, hey, Papi, like, get out of here.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was super excited. Lewis got his 106th victory. I stopped being nervous, like I said, as soon as he crossed the finish line. I think part of the reason, too, is because, like, I'm just, like, a pessimist at heart. So, like, I assume everything's going to go wrong. Like, everything's going, like, too good. Like, we got too lucky with the safety car. He was killing it on the mediums, right? Then when he was on hards, he dunked 19 seconds on their asses, right? So I was like, this is the part where the brakes blow up, because like
that's what I was thinking too. I was like, something's gonna happen. So
the tires going out, the Macarena wing is gonna get stuck. And then they were reviewing him for I think
under the safety car.
So like
but that would have been like a 5-second penalty, and he was so far ahead. I was like, serve it. Like, they're like, send me the bill. Like, he had it. But the thing,
go ahead.
You go.
No, I was just going to say, like, the fans at the race knew, like, 3 laps before the end, because you could hear it on the broadcast. Like, they were, like, cheering. People were standing up. Like, I have it in my notes that, like, I love that everyone was ecstatic for him to win. It's very cool.
How things changed 20 years later, because 20 years ago, they definitely weren't cheering for Lewis.
That's true.
I know.
Not in Barcelona. Yeah, that's
no. Good Alonso's. That's Alonso's home. But I think when I realized, I don't think Lewis knew how good he was doing. I thought this was really cute. He got on the radio and he's like, am I doing okay? Like, he didn't say that, but he was asking his engineers, like,
he asked about lap times.
They're like, bro, you're good. Like, and DC was like, good job. He's doing more than a good job. Like, he's driving like X. And I was like,
I'm glad you brought that up, Lisette. How do y'all feel about, I'm not going to let this moment pass and say, would he have gotten this victory with Ricardo Adami as his race engineer? Because Carlos Santos, by the way, is just supposed to be, y'all know this, you know this, like he's a sub. And I'm like, no, permanent. I know you're trying to bring Michael, whatever the other guy was supposed to be his race. I was like, no.
Yeah.
No, I think he's doing so good with Carlos Santi. And I love that Carlos Santi was up there on the podium with him at the end. But like you can tell that they have such a better like race dynamic where
their
I
communication.
have it in my notes. It was like after the virtual safety car and like when Lewis like came back on, he goes, and you are in the front.
Yeah.
And like it was just such like a reassuring.
Like, exactly.
Yes. He knows how to speak to Lewis. I think that he knows how to speak to them. He knows like they have
feedback,
a good
the back and forth, the communication. Because how many races last year would Lewis ask the most basic ass question? Hey, how far ahead is the car in front, and how far behind, or how far behind me is the car behind me? Adami would come up to the line with some bullshit talking about, yes, Max is lapping at, and Max is like P1. It's like,
yeah, he's like, that's not what I asked.
What? Or talk to him. And so like with Santi, it's like, he'll say, hey, Lewis, give me the situation on your tires when you can. Right. Or Lewis will ask him a question like, yeah, I'm checking, I'm going to get back. And then he gets back with it. It's like, it's such a basic thing. Or he'll say things like, hey, outlap critical. We need you to do this. Awesome. And then when he said, okay, Lewis, 7 more laps, this is your race. We need you to do, and I'm like,
he's like telling him, lock in, baby. This is yours. Like, just do it. I love
crazy.
that.
It's crazy.
He's walking him through it.
It's crazy what happens when a man can communicate.
Isn't it?
All the girls, all the F1 girlies.
We knew this already. Obvious. Do you know how amazing women race engineers would be? Like,
you gotta tell me.
We need more. We need more women race engineers. I saw the post interview again with Lewis, and they asked him about his race engineer, and he was like, he's like, I knew nothing about him. We didn't know each other. We had never worked together. And he was just kind of like blown away at like how quickly they've been able to get along and like work really well together. Yeah. And he was like, he said something really nice. He's like, I hope that I can do for him like what my fans did for me. He's like, to remember, like, kind of re-inspire me. And I was like, he's like, I hope he knows, like, he kind of feels like he remembers like why he likes race engineering. Like, I don't know. I thought that was cool. I was he wants everyone to feel the way he does. And he just seems really happy, man. Like,
so I'm saying, as soon as they said Adami was out, I was like,
damn. I mean, those radios last year were painful.
Everybody, I think the thing that kind of killed me about that too was the double standard that would happen. And we'll get back on track. Sorry, I do these rabbit hole things, so we'll get back.
No, we're here for Lewis.
It was very interesting last year. He would not talk to, and I think this is where my Charles haterism started. He would not really talk to Adami in the way that Adami like merited to be talked to. The asinine things Adami was doing and or saying would cause somebody to lose all sense and be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's not what I asked for, right? And Lewis was super professional, but it was like every article coming out, oh, Lewis is yelling at his race engineer. Lewis is being super aggressive to his race engineer. And then I'm like, bro, what is Charles doing on the other side? He's being like way more aggressive than this. Where are your 3-page soliloquies talking about like this, right? And so for me, like when the change happened, I was like, okay, literally, like I could be Lewis's race engineer and do a better job than Ricardo Adami, which is like how bad the situation is. And so to see like this turnaround, I'm like, and the fact they calls him like his Italian Bono, which I was like,
no, I was like, you cannot replace this man. He is your Italian Bono. Why are you trying to replace him?
But now Lewis, by the way, number 4. Most victories in F1 at 106. Most podiums in F1 at 206. Right?
Wow.
But he is building momentum, right? So now we have Canada, where everybody was like, oh, well, it's his track, blah, blah. I was like, okay, sure.
Okay.
Monaco, where I was like, okay, what now? And now Barcelona. So he's building momentum in those 3 races that I mentioned. Charles obviously did bad. So question to y'all, it's a really obvious one because I was like leading this up. What is going to be y'all's indicator that Charles is going to have like the worst season versus he's just going through a slump right now? Like how do I phrase that question better? It's like, should Charles like start focusing on himself? Like we talked about it earlier, right? With the breaks, it's like, well, whatever Lewis is doing, like I'm copying. But at what point is like, hey, and what conversations are you having with Charles? Like, hey, you are fast. Just focus on you, right?
Yeah. So I think like we were talking about this a little bit with like George and Kimmy, and I think something of like a similar vein is kind of happening over at Ferrari, right? Last year, Charles was like more consistent when like better than Lewis. And that had to be like this like huge, like kind of like ego surge probably for Leclerc. I mean, you have one of the greatest racer drivers of all time come in and fucking like suck in the first year, and like nothing's going right, nothing, like it disastrous, right? So I think like I think that was kind of like reassuring for Charles to be like big man on top, right? And then you come into this year and, well, let me rewind. Last year, obviously, Lewis is going through it. He's trying to make some like structural changes to the organization, but that might not necessarily benefit Leclerc. And so like Leclerc's watching this happen. Obviously, Lewis has so much influence and can really kind of like move worlds for himself because of like who the fuck he is. And so then you kind of see all of that come into this year. And there's been like interviews where like, in Lisette talked about this, where like Leclerc tiene mucho ojo a lo que está haciendo Lewis. And I think now, instead of that being like an admirational, like aspirational thing, like I can learn from this, I think it's becoming like I'm obsessed with this kind of situation. And like he needs to be in his own lane and refocus on like, maybe he needs to get a different team around him. Maybe he needs to have like a better relationship with his race engineer. I think he needs to get his all these white boys need to get their mentals together. Like anytime there's any type of adversity, they be flipping out, crashing out. Like get yourself a therapist, get yourself like someone to be in your corner. Have your mommy and your papi there. Like, I don't know, whoever that is.
I think Lewis said today, like, he had to advocate really. He's like, I'm very vocal. He's like, and I know I'm vocal. And he kind of mentioned how Fred had to really advocate for him because he was probably pissing a lot of people off because he was trying to change so much, right? And the team had to stand by him, and he did. And now you're seeing the results. And I think Leclerc has gotten comfortable with Ferrari and Ferrari's ways of doing things. And he's probably forgotten how to advocate for himself and what he needs. Like, sure, you got the contract. The team has been backing you up this whole time, but have you really gotten what you've asked for? And clearly he hasn't. He has no championship with Ferrari after how many years? So it's he needs to learn from Lewis and be like, Lewis is advocating for what he knows works for him. And now he needs to learn from that and push his own team to do better. Otherwise, he's just going to be writing this Ferrari contract for 5 more years, winning
those checks, right?
8 races his whole career. That's nuts.
I don't think Leclerc has ever had to advocate for himself. I think he has inherited a system that somewhat worked for him, and he doesn't know how to, because this happens every time and same goes with George. Like, I don't think, again, these privileged European men don't know how to advocate for themselves. It's the adversity part. Like they don't know what to do.
I mean, so I'm with that. So I would agree with that, and I would add this sentiment. The underlying issue for me is that like Charles came to the team in 2019.
Yep.
His teammate then, Seb Vettel, who was no pushover, had just come from Red Bull, 4-time world champion. Clearly, this guy was fast, right? Like he was replacing Kimmy Räikkönen. Charles clearly and quickly established his mark on Ferrari. He was faster. They didn't renew Seb because they were like, yeah, okay, whatever. They brought in Carlos, and Carlos, the biggest concern about Carlos was that technically sound, good driver, could give good feedback. But there was always something about Leclerc's talent that made people like lean towards him, right? Then you bring Lewis in, and you said, like, you're right. Last year, he dog walked Lewis, but Lewis was new to the team. Lewis doesn't speak Italian. Lewis is bringing all of the, he delivered documents to the team on how to improve. What's the thing you always hear about Ferrari is like the team is bigger than the driver. No driver is bigger. But the last time Ferrari won, it was a Michael Schumacher that came in, brought his people in, and pissed off a lot of people because it's like, you guys don't know how to win. I know how to win.
It's what it takes.
Right.
Yeah,
and so
that's so true.
I just kept like screaming into the void. I was like, why did you pay him this much money to not?
That's what we were about. How dare you bring a 7-time world champ? You pay so much money to then not listen to him.
And so
no one does that.
My question now is, now that Lewis's fruits of his labor are starting to pay dividends, right? Because you got to think that he had some input into the design of this year's car.
He did. Right? He said, like, I feel like I had a part of this car's composition, so I feel comfortable, versus last year he had no say in that car. This time he's like, this is with my input. This car is built for me.
On the flip side now, and some of the people who have been at Ferrari for a long time, I'm wondering if it's refreshing. Those who remember what it was like when Michael Schumacher was there, it was like, oh, wait, I can actually do something with this feedback. Like, this is actionable things. And what he's saying actually makes sense. He can tell me why this doesn't feel good, but the way he's talking about it, okay, I get it. He's using terminology, right? So he helps build the car. So bear with me. Now that Ferrari's seeing the fruits of the labor that Lewis is putting in, is he now establishing himself as the leader of the team? Ferrari famously doesn't like to do that like 1-2 thing, right? And are more people now understanding, oh, shit, yeah, we get it. This guy actually is good. He is a hard worker. My man hasn't used the simulator for 3 races now. Now I'm like, don't use it for the rest of the season, because he was saying there's no correlation. Your simulator says this, the track says this, right? And so at some point you got to stop and think, like, how much is this messing with Charles's just aura, ego, persona? Because Lewis went through the trenches all of last year.
1,000 it is.
And now this year he's like, I feel good. I feel better about myself. I feel energized. I feel younger. I feel like the team.
He's got Kim. He's got Kim. They're canceling out the curses. I'm like, girl, go on, do it.
Towel stealing Kim. Shouts out.
No, it worked out in our favor.
Now
she
it's
cursed
towel
it.
giving. Yeah, Antonelli.
She cursed it when she gave it back.
You know who needs a limpia is Charles Leclerc. He needs a limpia so bad.
And I was like, nope, no limpia. Stay sucio. No, I'm joking. And so you both, do you both agree or differ on the opinion that this is becoming Lewis's team because whatever XYZ reason, or do you still feel like, you know what, Charles comes back in Austria and has a decent race and it, like, status quo? Because Charles had all this time to give his input. Charles had all this time to say, like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. But it seems like, to me, he's content with winning in Monza.
I think Ferrari needs to worry about constructors' points. At the end of the day, this is also a team sport. And if you don't have your other driver scoring any points for you, look at Red Bull.
Yeah,
Max and drive his heart out, come back. One of the biggest points comeback last year.
Absolutely.
Still doesn't get you much, right? And I just feel like Ferrari needs to Leclerc needs to, like, clock in, basically. Like, he just needs to lock in on himself. But Ferrari needs to reevaluate and be like, fuck, like, we want this constructors. We want to stay ahead in the points, and whatever is going to work for them, they have to do and make the changes to stay in this constructors.
For both sides of the garage.
For both sides of the garage.
One side of the garage.
Exactly.
You know.
I mean,
because all the other teams are making improvements on their car. Like, McLaren potentially could get back into the swing of things, right? Not a terrible team.
Y'all are thinking constructors. I hear you. I think for me, this is the one thing about Formula One that's always been crazy to me. It's like, it's a team sport, but not really, right? And so for me, I'm just thinking, like, okay, well, last year, like, everyone was saying, like, Charles is retiring Lewis, and, like, they just got him for that bag, the stock prices, the merch, the aura. They were aura farming champions 2025. You can't convince me of that, because I can't tell you how much Ferrari stuff I bought last year based on just aura alone, right? But I think what I'm looking at this year is that, like, the team, if they haven't already, quickly has a decision to make, right? It's like, we have this guy here. He's providing the feedback. Sensational. Love it. we have the guy that we just signed to a new contract. He's the face of the team and he's younger, so he can push it forward. But he's not getting us wins now. So it's like, for me, at some point, the team is going to say, like, we have to get as much out of Lewis now because it is a finite resource, right? Versus Charles, who technically, like, the future is bright. We signed him to his long-term contract. And then next thing you know, Oliver Berman steps in and, like, mops the floor with him. I don't know.
You never know.
So the last, I guess, question for me, and then we can cover. Oh, wait, real quick. Red Bull, you mentioned Red Bull. I do feel like Red Bull, shouts out to my nephew, Isaac Hadjar. All right. I do feel like Red Bull.
I love Isaac Hadjar. I love Isaac Hadjar. Okay. Yeah. He's a great driver.
I think so too.
He's also a send it boy. He's like, send it. Let's fucking go. I love these young. Yeah. He's like doing it. He's a born racer.
Yeah, not being surprised. Okay. He clearly knows what he's doing. But like, I think for me, once again, we had an issue at the start with the Ford car. So the jokes write themselves at this point.
Don't buy a Ford.
But if you want to invite us to the next unveiling,
if you want to sponsor, we could be convinced.
No, but like the thing I will say about Isaac Hadjar is very feisty, very emotions on his sleeve. I think though that he's gotten a bad rap just again how he is being presented as like this kid who's always like angry and he's always upset. But I'm like, but he's not saying anything that's like.
Here's the thing. They like to do that with the non-melanated drivers.
Yeah.
Because going back again to like the Lewis abuse Lewis abuse of the driver, like fucking Max and GPs right now.
Yeah.
Charles and Brian, like literally.
Yes. Like there's many, and like they are driving rocket ships and you want them to be cool, calm, and collected? Ain't nobody like, no, that's not happening. This is not the corporate
You're expecting
office.
them to make split second decisions, and you expect them to not be respond under pressure and like in a heated way. Like they are lucky. He's like 21, maybe? I forget.
He is 21 years old or 20 years old. He's 20
Let's look it up.
I just know that the podium last year, his age and Kimmy's age combined were 40. So he's 21. Because
it's okay. So they're like super young.
Math
strategy.
Again, frontal lobe emotions run high.
Doesn't the frontal lobe develop like at 25
for men? Yeah.
But I just feel like with Hadjar had a tremendous race. He has, unfortunately, his podium got taken away by the feds as well.
God.
Because
that was bad.
Okay, here's the thing.
But what wasn't it more sad that Alpine let Pierre Gasly celebrate without telling him that he was?
Yeah. Okay, wrong on so many levels. I don't like that the decision was made so delayed after the race. Like there should be like a finite period. Well, and I think back in the day there were.
So there was like that 96 hour window. The right of review. So like.
Yeah. But the decision needs to be turned around faster because, like, that decision was made, like this
literally, week? Yes. On Friday or showed up.
Yeah, no, crazy. I don't know. I don't like that part.
Edge of the seat. But no, I feel like with Hadjar, he is a good teammate to Max. I feel like Red Bull's future is also bright because even on the other side, Lindblad, I mean, granted, Lawson is doing great. I don't
want to say that he's doing great, but he actually is. Like,
he is. Listen, it pains me too. Lisa, yeah, everybody.
They're getting a lot of points. I'm happy for
It was on for me. It was on for me when Lawson and El Viejo Sabroso had beef, and I was like, brother.
The disrespect. Look, there is one thing Mexicans will not tolerate, and that is disrespect. You disrespect you in any way, you are never going to get forgiven. And I can tell you that because that is how I am. You disrespect me once, I will cut you out. You will never get forgiveness from me.
Then Lawson follows that up by beefing with Fernando Alonso.
He beefs with everyone. That kid is so disrespectful. I'm telling you, I can't stand him.
Hey, brother. Do you need a hug? A kiss? Do you miss your parents? I don't know what's going on. Somebody. But it is again, full circle. Hadjar is doing okay. I'm excited to see his future. Same with Lindblad in the Racing Bulls.
Yeah.
But finally, see how I like to do these like little side journeys?
Love a side journey.
Full circle. Do you all feel now that Lewis is 41 points? This is best case scenario for Lewis, by the way. Like, the championship leader was 68 or however 66 points ahead of him. Did not score any points. He is now only 41 points ahead of him. I asked y'all this question off air, but now I'm asking you this question on air. is this a championship battle between the two Mercedes and Lewis, or is this just enjoy this W, rewatch the race, have a cold one? It's not happening.
I wouldn't say okay. That's not.
It's 100% happening.
I'm with you.
I want it to happen, but
so you're just guarding your heart. I understand. No, I understand. You don't want to get your hopes up.
No, because I've been crushed. How many years has it been? It's been rough.
It started in 2021.
Oh God, it's been long. It's been 7 long years. Just kidding. But no, look, I think that y'all, this feels like we're further into the season because we had so many motherfucking breaks. This is so early on in the season to be having this conversation. It just feels like we should be.
That's why I feel like it's...
Explain. Tell me more.
I just feel like we keep seeing only progress from Lewis and Ferrari, and we still have a long way to go. And I feel like he himself is not going to let himself forget who Lewis is.
Exactly.
He is Lewis Hamilton, and he has been thirsting for this 8th world championship forever. That is why he went to Ferrari. He was like, you know what? This is it for me. I want this. He's making it happen. He's going to elbows out. Like, I know that even he was like, I don't want to go there. He's like, is this a championship? He's like, I'm just thinking of like, I'm just happy I won today. But I really do think that it's on. I think it's actually on between Ferrari and Mercedes. Like,
I agree.
Because Mercedes power unit is shitting the bed.
Okay, wait. So Mercedes on their social media or like on a thread was like, it was Lewis, George, and Kimmy. He's like, there are 3 drivers.
Yeah.
If it comes down to like George and Lewis like going to bat, they're gonna come up with some fucking crazy ass strategy so that Lewis can have his win.
Only because full circle. What was it that you said, Amanda? They hate George.
They hate George.
No, so okay. Let me usher you more into the Lulu situation. Ferrari still has an engine upgrade that they've got coming. Right?
That's true. Yes.
2, while
I forget these things.
While Kimmy and George are fighting it out, like
George only has like 1 battery left, like we said earlier.
We talked about those grid penalties. Then the next thing for me, it's on if in Austria, a track where Lewis is not super great at the Red Bull Ring, right? If he sniffs a top 5 for me,
that's going to be it for you.
Then I'm full. I'm already full send after this win. I'm full send. If he gets on a podium, I'm going to be unbearable.
You know what? I'm gonna make my little fucking altar with my offerings.
Thank you.
I'm gonna make my little friend. I'm gonna get the vela out, put the little virgencita right there next to him.
But I think
San Palo Santo.
I think what is interesting is like the headspace that Lewis is in.
Right? It's the most healthy. Also, y'all, Angela's back.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Angela's back this year. Yeah. Last year he had someone else. I don't know who that was.
He said he feels the best. Even
Angela was back. Sorry, when he came back to Ferrari.
Emotionally, check.
Romantically.
That's what I said. Emotionally, physically, mentally, all of them.
Hey, yo, wow. That's why. You know what? Like, let me
look. That man is happy right now. All right, that man is happy across the board.
Style? Yeah, he is in a really great place, and I think that I got real spicy there, but I think that too, like Kimmy has kind of built the same thing for himself with like family support, mental support, and you see other drivers that have been able to successfully like make their little sphere for themselves, and like this sport is so like I could never do this because I crash out for everything. Yeah,
I'd love to do it. I'd still be a crash out. Except I'd be like, Mama. Anyways, all the Dominicisms on the radio. So
I think that like, no, yeah, you're right. He's like in the like a really good space, and he's also been able to get all the changes in advocacy that he needs. So like, I retract my previous.
And I don't think Ferrari is going to be like, we don't trust Lewis anymore because now he has the receipts, right? His performance is there. The win is there. If anything, now Ferrari is going to be like, Sir Lewis, what do you want?
Hey, and whoever said this is actually the clutchest thing that's being said. Amanda, you're right. The season is still early. This was only race 7, which means we don't need to score and or win all of the races for the.
We just need consistency in points, and Lewis is so good at that.
That's why I'm hanging on to what you said. The second thing
Yeah.
is Lewis has been here before. He said last week, he's like, it's more fun being the chaser than defending.
Yep.
So you're right. Like, you're right. Like, now that just adds even more to my delusion, because it's like, oh, that was race 7 of 22. We go to race 8 next, which means 14 freaking races after that, with Silverstone still on deck, with Coda still on deck, with Hungary still on deck, with Brazil still on deck. Like,
yeah. One thing too that I will just say, like, Lewis is so good about tire management and like handling of the car to get the most out of these tires. And if he was able to do that in this race with all these new upgrades to this car, this gives me a lot of hope for the way that he's feeling.
That overheat tires.
Yes. But he's perfect at that. Like, that is his, like...
That's expertise. That is being a 7-time... He's been here for 20 years, you guys. Like...
My favorite part about this segment was how we got Amanda full circle into the delusion train.
You sure did. I'm full delulu. I'm delulu.
Go ahead and
here.
Ready. It's on deck. Sorry, listen. We were for.
No, you were right. I was protecting my heart. I've been burned.
Look,
it's been crushed too often.
I know. If Lewis doesn't win an 8th championship, you probably won't see me like for a year.
But you just started this podcast. You guys better be around.
Girl, I am quitting. I am quitting. No, but I really do. I believe in Lewis because he has the expertise. He has pushed through, I think, one of the hardest parts, and that is forcing Ferrari to listen to him. He's gotten them this far now. I mean, look at how, oh my God, did you guys see the joy of his team when he was celebrating?
Yes, because that was the first victory since Carlos Sainz did it last year.
Yeah, in Mexico. Yeah, and it's been forever. Yeah. But they're seeing consistent podiums from the Ferraris, right? And so I think the team is getting reinvigorated, and I feel like they need it.
Of fact, that McLaren has to go away in the background.
Ooh, that is a sick hat. I love that hat. That's so pretty.
Because I got my own little altar right here.
Yeah, is that your Lewis altar? Oh yeah,
I love it.
So okay, so wrapping it up, we have Austria next, Red Bull Ring, homecoming for Max. Great. What are y'all watching out for? We got 2 weeks, unfortunately, until the next race, so a little bit of a break. But I know what I'm going to be watching. What are y'all watching out for this upcoming race?
I'm curious to see what all the garages are going to be doing in the break. So I'm paying attention to the news before we even get to the track. I also think, like, doesn't rain normally, or don't we normally have weather at this race? So I'm interested for the tires and like the strategy. Like, weather just always makes things so much more interesting. Yeah.
Looking for McLaren to kind of start improving their performance. I think we're going to start seeing, I think we're forgetting about McLaren because they've had so many like DNFs and stuff. But I do think that, again, we have a long season ahead, and I have a feeling that McLaren is going to make a bit of a comeback. Like, I think they're still in it. I don't think they're as like in it as like Ferrari, but if they keep making upgrades, I do think that we might see some like Lando in the fight against. And I think we're going to continue to see. I think Mercedes has the most to lose across the board, right? Like their drivers are battling it out. George has to get more points. Kimmy doesn't want to give up the lead. I think for them, they're under the pressure cooker now. Their car is starting to be inconsistent. So I don't know. I think for me, it's just like, how is Mercedes going to react to all of this?
All right. I think for me, honestly, it says all eyes on Ferrari. Essentially, in the upcoming race, like, what do you have for me? Your engine should be better. Those upgrades were really good. And interesting you brought up McLaren. Last note on them from me is that, like, I did expect them to do a lot better because during the free practices, they were tearing it up. They were doing good. And maybe to your point, I think, Lisa, you're the one who were saying it earlier. Like, the practices, like, they're whatever to me. But, like, when I got to the qualifying, the last thing I expected was for McLaren to just, like, P4, P7.
Yeah.
On a track that is like that's the testing track, right?
Mhm.
On a track where, you know,
You've
Oscar
seen it?
won last year.
Yeah.
Like, nothing new here. So it's a little bit disappointing, but I'm definitely excited. A little bit sad that it's going to be 2 weeks. I mean, sad because I'll miss racing. Honestly, great. So I can catch up on all this production and editing and stuff. Awesome. But aside from that, for those watching, where can they find you on the internet? Tell us about your podcast. Go ahead.
Circuitosychisme.com has all of our YouTube,
Socials.
Spotify.
I'm going to post that. I'm going to post that right there.
Circuitosychisme.com. We are on the TikTokies, which is so great. We have such a good community there. So you'll find
I
us
love
on...
the TikTok community.
I love the TikTokies. We won't talk about the other.
We have los Instagrams too, though. And we have los YouTubes. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcast. We forgot about the YouTube, though. We've been posting shorts, okay? This is new for us. We're still figuring it out. But yeah, we're everywhere.
This has been so fun. Thanks for inviting us, Emmy.
Let's do this again.
Yes, please.
I know, yes.
That's one thing I would like to say as the final thing. I randomly... Oh, yeah, that's facts, actually. I'm actually trying to make that lamb. I tried, or when I reached out to Amanda and Lisa, I just I saw them on TikTok and I was like, man, these two look like they're having a lot of fun. So I was like, would
talking all our shit.
Would y'all like to record with me? And so they were gracious enough to join me on this podcast. And I'm a yapper, and I guess y'all are some yappers too, which I love.
Certified yapper.
Hey, that's all good. But we have come to the end. As always, if you have made it this far, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, tell your mommies, your papis, your tios, abuelas, vecinos, that's neighbors if you don't speak Spanish. For the Monoplaza F1 podcast, I'm Emmy. That was Amanda and Lisette.
Thanks, Emmy.